agreeable to the nature of the child. A mother who needs comfort because what she felt growing within, she now misses it when it comes without. The feeling of life growing in her, moving and kicking and turning. When that life comes forward, there's an emptiness there, and it's only replaced by the feeling of the warmth of the baby on her breast. And as the baby nurses from her breast, it gently strokes her breast, comforting the mother as the mother comforts the baby. The mother is feeding the baby not only from her breast, but from her thoughts. For her thoughts are chemistry. And if she's thinking properly, she can energize the milk and give great courage and strength to her child right through her bosom. As that child grows, this head is to see, hear, smell, speak, think for this body. This body has natural needs that the head is supposed to get for the body. If the body doesn't have it, that's a witness against your head. As God ordained for you to have a head, He ordains for people to have leadership. You didn't hear me? The same God that produced a head for your physical body produces leadership for you. And to the whites that are in this audience, listen to me. Your government knows that these people cannot form arms and legs that work and build for themselves if they don't have that connection between heaven and earth. And so this government has plotted against every leader that has come to us with light that they did not control. And so the government of America kills our leaders and then says they are our friends. Dear Reverend, they'll make us leaders for our people. We're like a false head sitting on a body that can't grow arms and can't grow legs because we're the wrong head, because our head is not filled with the light of God. The Spirit of God didn't move on the people and bring you forth out of your mother's womb ordained to lead the people. You were placed on the people by the white man to teach the doctrine of the white man. Are you listening to me? White people don't produce leaders for you. God, who gave you your head, God, who created the head on the sperm, God makes your leaders. But whenever the true leader appeared, you were frightened of him. And you turned on him. And we lost our great leaders. Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, you name them. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, every great leader we had, we turned on them, we turned them down. Because white folk put on your head the head they wanted you to have. And are y'all all right? You're not angry with me, are you? You understand what I'm saying, don't you? Very good. Now I'm coming to something. Anytime the government of the United States will kill your leaders, trump up false charges against them, put them in prison. Right now, if any white man is hurt in Milwaukee, they will come and arrest this brother. And they will bring him to court. They're planning it right now. And they will play back his speeches and his tapes to justify what they want to do to him. They're working on me. Every black man or woman that stands up for us, they're trying to get rid of them. Every strong black preacher that will stand up, they are working on them. Look at the black leaders that are now being tried in courts in America. This is not accidental. They're afraid. They know that you will never form a great nation until you accept divine light and divine leadership. You will always be void as you are void now. You are like a canceled check, voided. But the Spirit of God is moving on the face of the waters. And God has said, let there be light. And what I want to say to you is these things. Is there a microphone that I can use? I can take this one out. They got a little line here. Good. I just want to look at you. Brothers and sisters, money cannot give you value. I want to pull out some money here. I got some somewhere. Here's a $100 bill. That's not the one you just gave. Now, this $100 bill does have value, doesn't it? It does have value. If I gave it to any one of you, you could take this money and buy something that you would like. It has value. It has a dead president on it, Mr. Benjamin Franklin. Well, he may not have been a president, but he's a great white man. No, he really was. Very great man, Ben Franklin. Now, if you look at this money, I can crumple it up. It don't say nothing. I threw it with just enough English so it wouldn't fall, you know. Now this money, when I threw it down, just leave it down there, brother. Thank you. When I threw it down there, it didn't say nothing, did it? And I stepped on it. It didn't say nothing. And I do a little dance with it. It still ain't said nothing. But it's valuable, isn't it? Is this more valuable than you? then why would you kill for this? Why would you betray one another for this? This is paper that white folks gave value. But you, what gives you your value? Sister has a beautiful chain around her neck. That doesn't give you your value, does it, sister? No. Some of us, I got on some alligator shoes. That doesn't give me my value, does it? Some of you are adorned with the finest garments, kente cloth and whatnot. And it's expensive and it looks beautiful. But that does not give you your value. I got a diamond ring. And if you are fascinated by these things, then you go for things. And you put things on and then you strut. What's happening, man? Check my shoes. That's fool. You don't need none of this to establish your value. Your value was established for you when the first cell of life was started. And you began revolving in the darkness, and light was at the center of your life. And God was present there. He gave you your value. And every man in here and every woman in here, when God created us in his image and after his likeness, he gave us extreme value. So whether you're short or tall, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're real dark, or pale white, whether you got hair or whether you ain't got none at all, hair don't give you your value. Color doesn't give you your value. Clothing doesn't give you your value. You're valuable because you're created in the image and the likeness of him who created everything. So that life that you have is precious. Reverend, I want to say something to all the pastors. Dear pastors, you know when you build a beautiful church, how happy you are? You've been to a new church when it's dedicated, you notice how the people act? Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. And they tip in, you know, we're in church now. And they get that real sanctimonious look, you know. You ever see them come to communion in the Catholic Church? Listen, I'm not making mockery. I'm making a point. In some Baptist churches, if somebody comes up on the altar the deacon would say, step down, stand down. No, 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 don't come up here. Blah, 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 blah. Because this is the Holy of Holies. Tell me something, Reverend. Who made that Holy of Holies? Did God make it? Or did man make it? Who made the cathedral? Who made that mosque or that church or that synagogue? Man made it. Then man makes it reverent. Don't cuss like that. You round the church, brother. But let me tell you something. There's not a church, a mosque, a cathedral on this earth more sacred than you. Reverend, I want you to listen to me. You are the real house of God. And if you will tip in what man made, how much respect ought you to have for what only God could produce? Come on. Do you know who you are? I raised a question on television. I didn't answer my own question. Why are you black? Are you black because you cursed? Now you know that's what we were taught. So we've spent our whole life trying to be what? We wanted to be white because we didn't want to be cursed. So we bleached our hair, we blonded it, we straightened it, we pulled it. We bought Nadinola and all kind of bleach creams to get ourselves lighter. Never wanted to marry a black person because we didn't want no real black children. We wanted to be white. If we couldn't get white, get near white. And the poor brother and sister who came to birth real dark, when they grew up and they had to look in the mirror, they asked the question that became a very popular song years ago: why was I born? And why am I living? Why, God, did you mess me up and make me black and nappy-headed in a world that glorifies white skin, blonde hair, long hair, straight hair, and I ain't got none of that? Why are you black? And why are you white? And why are some yellow and some brown? Because God is the author of life. And he gave men and women their hues, but they had to have a starting place. And guess where they started? You're not black because you're cursed. You're black because you're the first life in the universe that God created. Yes. Let me prove it to you. Hear me now. I'm almost finished. Hang in there with me. You're black because in the beginning, darkness was before light, and black was before white. Take it or leave it. As God brought light out of darkness, God brought white out of black. We are the father and the mother of all living things. From one blood came all nations, and we are that one blood out of which all the nations came. Now Muslims, I saw my brothers saying, looking at each other saying, ooh, he's back in that old talk again. Wait a minute, Muslims. Let's go to the Quran. The Quran says all life comes from Adam. That Adam was the first man. Talk to me. But if Adam was a man, that man had a color. Talk to me. What was Adam's color? Not from Farrakhan, but from the Holy Quran. What was Adam's color? He was not a white man. The Quran said Allah fashioned him into shape from black mud. Well then, Allah again in the Quran has shown 1400 years ago what the geneticists have just come to discover. Mendel, the great white geneticist, said that light skin is recessive, dark skin is dominant. Light eyes are recessive, dark eyes are dominant. He said you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. What was he saying? He was saying that if two white people were the first people, we never could have come here, because it is a genetical, mathematical impossibility for two white people to produce anything but white people. Yes. So, dear white people, you are fairly new on the earth. And not only were we before you, we produced you. This is true. This is true. Oh, don't you go around saying an ape was your father. Just tell the truth. And then the Bible told you, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God gives you. When you look at the black woman, you're looking at your mother. She's the mother of all living. She's the Eve of the book. And the geneticists proved this, that everything came from the black woman, and the black woman came from God. Yes, she's not man's woman. She's God's woman. And that's why we got a problem, brothers. I'm almost finished. Hang with me a few more minutes. Y'all all right? Now I'm going to prove what I just said. This black woman is powerful. Yes, sisters, never allow yourselves to be used as something of pleasure alone. God knows why he made you. It's in the Quran, brothers. Look at what Allah says in the Quran. He made the male and the female from a single essence. Powerful. And from these two, he created many men and women. He gives to the male a certain nature, and he gives to the female a certain nature. And the nature of the female is that in the female, the male finds peace and quiet of mind. She is man's consolation. Well, why does man need consolation? Because God, let's go to the Bible now. God said in the book of Genesis, look at this. He created man in his own image, after his own likeness. Then he gave man dominion over the fowl of the sea, of the air, the fish of the sea, and every creeping thing that crawls upon the earth. You know why the black man is in such stress? Because the black man has the capacity to govern, and he's unable to develop and prove that part of his own nature. So he's stressed out. He's not governing anything, not even himself. Not only that, brother, God gave you orders. He didn't just write it in the Genesis. He wrote it in the genetic makeup of every male. It's in the genes. What are the orders? Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. What does that mean? Well, I'm already fruitful. I'm very fruitful. Not on that level, brother. God means for you to have children, but let's not get carried away. He wants you to have children, but he also wants you to support them. He wants you to provide for them. He wants you to make a way for your children. Doesn't he? Yes. But being fruitful doesn't mean that. Being fruitful means on the higher level, every man must become a producer. That's why the word multiply is used. Because in multiplication you have a multiplier, a multiplicand, you produce a product. Every man by nature is born to be a producer. So when you make a man a slave and you destroy his ability to be fruitful, to be a producer, you make him produce for you, but not for himself. Then the woman that was given to him to help him meet his obligation put upon him by God, she can't be to him as she should be. Consolation and peace and quiet of mind. When our women marry us, they have high hopes. He's so cute. He's a living doll. I just can't wait for us to be married. Then you get married. 6 months down the road, she's back at her mom's house, who lost her husband when she was young too. She's pregnant now, but there's no man, and she's disgusted. So she has a baby, and she finds another man, but she's more cautious this time. She's playing cute now. Hello. Do you have a job? And she ends up pregnant again, and the man is gone. Now you got 2 children. Still no man. So most of our women are hurt and disillusioned. And they're so disappointed in us that they end up taking out their frustration You just make me sick. I wish I had married Jonathan. At least he had a job. And the poor man gets so beat up at home, he can't take it no more. So he's out on the corner. He's high. Somebody said, take some crack, man, make you feel good. He cracks up. Or she beats him so bad he comes home. Gets his things and moves on out. Said, I'm sleeping with another man. Drive him out of being a man, and you then start cohabiting with other women. Sick and frustrated. Yeah. We're getting messed up, ain't we? It's really rough. There's hardly a woman in here who has gone through this life without some male not abusing her. Some women in here tonight have been abused by their own fathers. Fathers, you don't know what you're doing. And I have tried to understand what makes a man lie down with his own daughter. I've tried to understand that, because that's a sickness. And it's in our community and ain't nobody talking about it. Sisters, when you're a young girl, the male that you fall in love with first is your daddy, if he's there. And if he's there, he's the first man. Sisters, you got to protect your marriage. You got to protect your children. You don't protect your children by eating 65 meals a day. Listen, getting yourself out of shape, out of sorts. No, hear me. I'm not, please don't get angry with me. Don't get angry. But you get so heavy. Your husband remembers you when he fell in love with you. And you look just like your daughter. And you done served this man, and he ain't really all the man you wanted, so you about tired of him anyway. But you hanging in there, you know, for the child's sake. So he comes home working hard, he comes in tired. Is any food ready? Yeah, I cook. It's in the refrigerator. Go warm it up yourself. I'm going to bed, I'm tired. When you walk off like that, your daughter sees her father. She said, Daddy, I'll warm it up for you. He says, honey, you're so sweet. And you know what? The poor man begins to sink. He don't understand the beauty of the innocence of her love and adoring him. And he's so messed up in his head, he'll take advantage of his daughter while you upstairs sleep. And your daughter will try to tell you something is wrong, and then you jump on your daughter because you don't want to face the truth. And your poor daughter think it's her fault. She's all bottled up inside and sick, hurt, mentally destroyed. Because when you abuse a woman who is the natural consolation for a man, when she marries her husband, she can't be even to her husband what she should be, because you killed her as a woman when you abused her as a child. In this audience tonight, there are women who have been raped. Brothers, rape is up in the black community. When you rape a woman, do you realize what you're doing? Ask any woman that has been raped. It is the most horrible experience to take from a woman what a woman does not wish to give. And when you do that, you have literally killed that woman. That's why in the Holy Land, we don't punish rape with prison. We punish rape with death. Now, if you know your value, then from tonight, value yourself. When you go home and look in the mirror, if you don't see long hair, don't worry about it. You are a valuable woman. If you don't have a husband to love you, you're still a valuable woman. Don't destroy yourself because there is no man to love you. No, don't do that, because God will not give you credit for destroying yourself because there's no man in your life. He's in your life. And if it were not for him in your life, you wouldn't have been able to get this far. Get some pride in yourself. And from now on, sisters, don't dress to make men lust. From now on, don't make men see you like a piece of meat. Ooh, ain't she fine? What are they gonna do after they say, ain't she fine? You don't marry a woman's fineness. Marriage is not the unity of two bodies. Marriage is the unity of two minds, two souls, two spirits. So sisters, be stylish, be beautiful. Be covered, be beautiful. Be self-respecting, be beautiful. You are God's woman, and you must think of yourself in that light. Now, black man, mighty black man, you must now value who you are, the original people of the earth, made in the essence of God, having the power to will and bring into existence what you will. Don't you ever degrade yourself again. Look, I think too much of myself now to smoke the reefers that I used to smoke. I used to smoke reefer Not a lot. But I did. I wanted to try them out. And I did. I didn't like my head spaced out. I wanted to be in control, so I put the reefer down. I tried alcohol. I was like every other young boy. But I didn't like being drunk. I liked being sober. You understand? So I put that down. You must understand what this is. This is the house of God. Don't defile it. Don't abuse it. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. Don't go from here tonight saying that you're Baptist or Methodist or Episcopalian or Sunni or Shiite and put that above the prophet or Jesus and above God. Because Jesus was baptized, but he was not a Baptist. Talk to me. I've never read in none of the Gospels where Jesus said, I am a Baptist, so you be one too. I am a Methodist, so you be one too. I'm a Catholic, I'm Episcopalian, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, I'm Holiness, I'm Pentecostal, I'm Church of God in Christ. He never said that. He said, I am the door. Any man who enters to the Father must come by me. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the light of the world. I am the true vine. My Father is the husbandman. And then in the Revelations he said, I am the resurrection and the life. If you are dead, if you believe in me, you will live again. That Jesus didn't put us into denominations. We did that. Prophet Muhammad didn't put us, just a minute, brothers and sisters, don't pass out nothing while I'm talking. Don't do that. If you didn't do it before, don't do it while I'm talking. See, that very word that I'm giving the person, you disturb them giving them something. I know you mean good, but they might miss one word that might save their life. Do your work ahead of me so you don't have to do your work on top of me. You understand? I'm just about finished. Come on out of the house with that, brother. Y'all go ahead. That's one thing I want all of you to know. See, when I'm doing my thing, I don't go for no interference. And I'll tell you something, God will kill you one of these days for interfering with me when I'm delivering the word of God to his people. And you start putting what you got in your mind ahead of what is more important. And ain't nothing going on more important than what I got in my heart and in my mouth for these people. Remember that. If you want me on your side, then don't bother with me when I'm delivering my word. I'm just telling you straight up. Then you bring out another side of me that you may not want to see. I'm just about finished now. When we leave here today, Muslims, Prophet Muhammad didn't make Sunnis. He gave us the Sunnah. Prophet Muhammad didn't make Shiites and Hanafi and Hanbali and Sufi. That's man's madness. He was a Muslim. And that's all we need to be. Muslim. And what is a Muslim? One who submits his will entirely to do the will of God. And what was Jesus? He submitted his will to do God's will. He didn't say, my will be done. He said, thy will be done. Talk to me. So Jesus was a righteous servant of God. He never told us to worship him. He said, worship the Father. Follow me, but worship God. They said, good master. He said, why callest thou me good? There's none good but the Father. He never told you to pray to him. Don't say, oh Jesus. Say, oh God. He said, call on him in my name. Not call on my name. Call on the Father, and whatever you ask him in my name, he'll give it to you. But you now have taken Jesus and put Jesus in the place of his Father, and that's why you're not getting real answers. Because there is no God but he. He has no rivals, no partners, no equals, no associates. Nobody comes to God except as an honored servant. And Jesus was the most honored of his servants. You say, but Jesus was God. You know, if you really understand, Muslims, listen. Christians, listen. Read at the end. The Quran says Jesus was Messiah. Is that what the Quran says? Christians believe Jesus is the Messiah. Is that right? We are together, aren't we? In the Muslim tradition, who you looking for to return? You're not looking for Prophet Muhammad to return. You're looking for Jesus to return with the Mahdi. Is that right? At the end of the world. So we Muslims are looking for Jesus to return. Now listen to this. The Quran says Jesus opened the eyes of the blind, made the deaf hear, the dumb speak, and raised the dead to life by God's permission. Is that what the Quran says? The Quran says that Jesus was so powerful, he took clay and formed it into a bird, then breathed into it, and it became a bird by Allah's permission. Now listen to me again, Muslims. One of the attributes of Allah is the giver of life. Is that his attribute? One of the attributes of Allah is the raiser of the dead. That's his attribute, isn't it? Come on. Only God can make the blind see, the deaf hear, the dumb speak, the lame walk. Only God can raise a man from a dead level to a living perpendicular. So when you see a man coming and speaking, and the blind eyes open, and the deaf ears open, and the dumb speak, and a dead man is raised to life, that is not the man working, that is God working in the man, through the man, for humanity. Do you follow me? And I'll prove this all day long. Get me any scholar anywhere in the world. You can't defeat the truth. God in the last days will work through a man. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. A prophet can't handle this. You bring Noah and let Noah take one look at Milwaukee. He'll get in his ark and paddle on away. You bring Lot back. Lot couldn't convert one homosexual in Sodom and Gomorrah. Just let Lot see San Francisco, and he will leave his hat by the bay in San Francisco, because a prophet can't handle the homosexual problem in America. Talk to me. Y'all all right? Bring Moses back with his rod and show Moses bush with atomic weapons, nuclear weapons, hydrogen weapons, chemical weapons, skyscrapers and planes and things going to the moon. Moses will run back to God with his rod and say, I got to have more juice. Bring me any prophet you know. He come to Milwaukee, and ain't but 150,000 of us here. He'd take one look at this. Can these bones live? Only thou knowest, Lord. I ain't never seen nothing in this shape. This is no work for prophets. The abandoned car that's only good for parts. The car that America has written off as a total loss. They say they're irredeemable, irreformable, irreconcilable, hopeless, past praying for, dead. Masons, how many degrees do you have? Did you get your 33rd yet? You say you've been raised from the dead? Not with 33 degrees. Check this out. My hand is on a dead level. Anything horizontal is sleep, sick, or dead. If you get to a living perpendicular, you're at right angles to the earth. You need 90 degrees. If you ain't got but 33, you back down here, crawling. Who are you? You're the children of the master architect. What's the matter with you? Why ain't you building anymore? You got hit in the head. And you were brought on a westerly course out of the east and brought into the north country and buried in a shallow grave. And now you're waiting for the master with the master grip to pull you up. And the master is God, and God working in a man. And when you see God working in a man and you hear God's word, your eyes do what? And your ears do what? And your tongue begins to move and you begin to speak. And you were laying down sick, dead, out of it. Now you start struggling to get up. Hands didn't do no work for yourself, but now you're going to work. Who did you meet with? You met with God. Not that the person is God, but God is working in the person, through the person, for the person. God has decreed it's your time. Come on, Milwaukee. let's get up. Let's stop killing one another, and let's start building for each other. Dear sisters who are pregnant tonight, may God bless your womb with a Savior and a Redeemer for our people. And you who are pregnant and have decided to abort that life, may God bless you tonight to make a decision to hold what is in your precious womb. I'm going to tell you this story and we'll go. My mother tried to abort me 3 times. In those days, they didn't have a clinic because abortion was illegal, and it should be illegal today, except under certain circumstances. My mother used a hanger, and she tried 3 times. She told me before she died to remove me from her womb. And you know why? She met my father, a very handsome, light-skinned, straight-haired man. And my mother was a very dark, beautiful, black woman. She loved that light-skinned, straight-haired, handsome man. But he was such a player. Till she told him, you got to get up on out of here. And she married my brother's father. And she had a child for my brother's father. My brother's father's name was Lewis Walcott. And I don't know what was going on, but seemed like that light-skinned, handsome man came back into my mother's life while she was married to my brother's father. And she got pregnant with me. Now she was in trouble. And I can imagine what kind of trouble my mom was in. You know, when you get pregnant and you know who the father is and it ain't your husband. My poor mother was in a fit. You hear me? Well, my brother's father wanted a girl, so she was hoping that I would be a girl. And he was dark too. She was hoping that I would come out dark. Then she wouldn't have had to explain anything. But my poor mother, when she couldn't get rid of me, she said, Lord, I'll just go on and have him. And she prayed and she prayed and she prayed. She was in trouble. And you know what? When she was carrying me in her womb, her constant fears made her rely on God. And the more she prayed to God, her prayers went down into her womb. And she was making a child for God out of an unclean circumstance. She was making a child that would face the enemy as she decided to face the truth. With courage, she would make a child that would face the enemy for the deliverance of the people and never get weak in his knees, because God would be his rock. God would be his shield, his buckler, his protection. She made me that way from her womb, from an unfortunate circumstance. And so when I was born, light-skinned and a boy, she had to go tell her husband the truth. And she told him their marriage broke up. She took my brother and me and left that city and built a life without a man. But it was my mother and God and her 2 sons. And that's what it is with you, sisters. It's you and God and your children, because there ain't no man around. My father never gave my mother a dime, and she never asked my brother's father for nothing because she betrayed him. She did it on her own, and she reared this boy with moral strength. She reared this boy with God. She reared this child for truth, and she would beat my behind raw, not for what I did, but for lying to cover up what I did, because she said, son, I'm not beating you so much for what you did, but I'm beating you for the lie, because the liar will steal and the thief will murder, so we must knock out the lie. And she beat the hell out of me and grew me up to love truth. And because I had such a magnificent mother, I have honored and respected womanhood. Because I know when you got a woman that is a good woman, and there is no such thing as a no good woman. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, everywhere you find a no good woman, you find a woman made no good by a no good man. All of you women, from this night on, hold on to what you got in your womb and let it be. Whatever the truth is, face it, because out of an unfortunate circumstance, God brings a blessing. And out of our enslavement and our suffering and our pain, God has brought this generation, and we are going to be a blessing. So sisters, stop the killing. And I don't care if you had an abortion. Don't you hang your head down. Hold your head up. Because God forgives you for whatever you've done in ignorance. And like that woman that Jesus, they found her in adultery and they brought her to Jesus and they all had the stones. And what did Jesus say? Which one of you without sin cast the first stone? And then he looked at that woman and said, woman, where are your accusers? And they had disappeared. And Jesus said, neither do I accuse you. Go and sin no more. Go, brothers and sisters, and sin no more. Go and let's unite and build for the total black community. Thank you for listening, and may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.